Welcome back, everybody. Here we are with the second of this evening's playoff round games. Two new teams coming your way, the W Train and Double Shield Daniels. Now, once again, I'm Big Hungry Phil. With me is Gunther. Gunther, I haven't had a chance to check out these teams. Anything we should know about this going forward?
Well, aside from their namesake, Double Shield Daniels doesn't actually play a lot of Double Shield. We saw some Orisa, we saw some Orisa Hog comps when they were playing against something like Dive, and we saw some Rhinzaria, but for the most part, they really just stuck to a lot of maybe more dive-based comps overall. Whereas W Train seemed to play a lot of dive. Squid seems to be a really, really strong Genji from what I've seen. And Vitamin D3 just like kept the backline together for so long, farming Rally really, really quickly.
I'm really glad that you looked at that and went vitamin D3, because I was looking at it going, okay, Vitamind 3.
It's okay, I said that earlier.
Okay, so we've had that correction already. And additionally, guys, if you hear us referring to Kath, that's the on-screen. On-screen is no Orisa, but Kath is what we'll be saying. So please don't be too confused when we bring that out in the broadcast. That's just how we'll be calling it. So we're going to be starting in the first of our potentially 3 maps, maybe as few as 2, over on Busan, which we have seen already today. What when you hear that Busan is coming up, what's your expectation for what we can be seeing here, Gunther?
Something I love so much about Busan, and I think it's the same reason that Lijiang is beloved so much, is that each map lends itself to a lot of different comps, but if you're good enough, you can run whatever you want. I think this map is going to be showcasing a lot of what people feel comfortable and maybe a lot of individual talent, in the sense that there are strong off angles for DPS to take and pop off. There are, good places for supports to rotate and for tanks to rotate and show their map knowledge. Overall, I think this is just going to be some clean Overwatch.
But it does mean that we should maybe be expecting a couple of different looks out from our teams, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be seeing the standard meta comp right now.
Well, thinking back to our last series, I think we only saw that the Double Shield Genji poke come out once, and I think that was on Busan Sanctuary.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it didn't work out that well for which team was it that actually pulled that one out? You're gonna have to save me on that one.
I want to say have fun.
Yes, it was have fun. Correct. Yeah, congratulations, you passed the test.
What is have fun for 200?
That's nice reference. Thank you. So yeah, we saw that come out and maybe not find that much value. And one of the other things that we've touched on here is these are not top 500 player teams. They're not contenders teams. They're the guys typically in the 2.5 to 3.5 and a little bit either way kind of bracket. And so we maybe don't expect them to be running those meta comps, because whilst it looks like you just, pick meta comp, win game, easy, you've got to know how all those bits fit together to make it properly work. So, we maybe don't have teams with that level of experience here.
Yeah, the reason that Goat's comp was so dominant for so long is because all the pieces of it fit together into a really strong puzzle. If you put that in the hands of players who don't necessarily understand their jobs in that comp, they can get picked apart very easily. And I think it's the same thing with most comps that are meta at the current time. One thing I want to bring up is we often saw the dichotomy between a dive comp and a bunker comp, and it's really just about how each team can set up properly. So I want to be seeing if W Train is looking to destabilize comps before they dive, or if Double Shield Daniels are going to be actually running the bunker comps that we saw from them sometimes. There's really a lot of looks that can come out from both teams here, and just the way those pieces, I especially want to see the tank lines interact is going to be the most factor.
One of the other things that I think maybe we can expect from this level of play is a reliance on comfort picks. And we saw that a little bit in the previous round with a particular preference for Echo coming out, where you wouldn't maybe normally have Echo in the environment in the team comps that she was being run in. For this sort of level of play, how much value do you think there is in just running a comfort pick, like a hero that you can find value in over and above what the meta pick is?
I'm gonna say it's, unless the hero is in an objectively bad place, I would say the value of a comfort pick cannot be understated. It is so important. We saw teams running mirror and dives of Brig Moira backlines when you would see something often like Brig Zen or Brig Ana, when maybe those other heroes do more damage and utility. But if those players are more comfortable running Moira and they're going to get more work done on Moira, hats off to them. They run it and they win with it.
Yeah, I think my favorite example is for that brief window in time where Doomfist was particularly meta. That's great, but it actually takes a lot of work to run Doomfist, like to learn how all his kit works and how it all strings together. You can't just pick Doomfist and go. If you've got a serviceable soldier, it's not quite the same play style, but you can typically make it work a little better than you can a hero that you have no concept how to play at all.
Yeah, especially how we saw on the last boost on how the soldier was consistently flanking and webbing up the enemy team. It really feels like, soldier isn't necessarily the greatest character right now, but that as a comfort pick, it worked for them. They were able to surround, they were able to dive, and they were able to get a lot of value from that.
Well, it looks like we are about ready to go into map, and it seems like we're going to be starting on downtown. Anything about downtown in particular that you think we should know and what we should expect from our teams coming into this?
I think of all of them, downtown is the most free flow kind of map. You can run dive comps, you can run brawl comps, you can run bunker comps. Really, this is going to be the comfort pick map, I would say.
Right. So this is maybe the most Wild West map we can expect to see here. And, look, let's not fall into the trap of talking about what is in Spawn, but this is some wild stuff in Spawn. If this was to come out, I don't know how we'd go about casting this because, okay, there we go. It suddenly, as we came in, got a lot more sensible. This is looking a lot more likely from both of our teams.
Yeah, the double shield, we'll maybe see Crete swapping to Baptiste, and then the dive comp coming out on the other side of things. This is going to be the same dichotomy I talked about earlier. Are they going to destabilize the dive before they go, or are they just going to be able to survive in the bunker?
Well, nice high ground positioning there for George, and I think we saw Moose try and cover the distance there with a leap, but instead landed in no man's land without any cooldowns, got focused down, frozen, and dealt with. This is a very strong start from the W train. 2 picks already just as the point unlocks. There's Mello going down as well. Looks like an early cap here for the W train.
Yeah, something that I want to point out is they're running Mei in the counter dive, and something very interesting regionally is that we see a lot of Pacific Asian teams and Chinese teams run Mei as a counter to dive when you normally want to see Torb or something in that position. But that's an early pickoff onto the Ashe.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate, and I had no idea how Owen got into that position to deal with Hey George, but they're in a 5v6, equalized now as we are going to see Owen taken down. With OT base in a little bit of pressured situation there, and Moose is able to find vitamin D3. So actually this hold here from the W train starting to look a little shakier. Expect to see them just try and get as much point percentage as they can here, because they ain't winning this fight.
Yeah, an early pick from Owen onto Hey George just really, it cracks it open. But that's he takes it back. He says, no, I'm getting the entry frag this time, buddy.
Yeah, it looks like it might have been a little bit too early there for an entry frag. We're still waiting for some of the W train to come back in, but look at the ults available for the W train.
Yeah, I want to say how the coalescence is really going to be able to keep the team up, but is that going to save you from the Nanoblade of Mystic?
Probably not. You need a lot of preload rally on that one, but they're not even going to get the chance. Owen finds the double.
But they commit Nano anyways.
Yeah, I mean, they are just committing to this. This is a lot of ults thrown in by the double shield Daniels that they maybe didn't need.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of check marks start to pop up now for both teams, really. But it's just going to be, how is Double Shield Daniels going to be able to deal with this this blizzard? Are they going to try and force the fight off point? That's an early rally coming out from Vitamin D3.
Well, that's going to give them a chance to load up on the armor ahead of getting onto point, but they're going for this long wraparound down to the side here. Mystic is ready on the high ground with the Dragon Blade. Has it ready to go. Beautiful Gravitic Surge. Locks them all up in place. Allows Mystic to just slice them like so much cheap salami. There's going to be the last punch in from Owen, and another great hold here by the Double Shield Daniels.
Oh, if they were able to save their Bob and their Coalescence, this would be an easy retake fight. But because of the fact that they committed so much to that very lost fight, this is going to be difficult. You know, Kath has the rally this fight. They might try to play close and brawl, and they say, I don't care that you have a flux. I'm just going to punch you, and it's going to be over.
We need to see some really, really good value out of these space control ults, but they're already in the 5v6. Blizzard comes out, but we're just going to see Levisov pop the Fortify and get out of that. But there are now 3 picks starting to come through here from the Double Shield Daniels. This might have just been an aborted push here from the W train without the ults they needed to really make this work.
Hida Zarya seems to be, you know, it's not quite the same as what we saw earlier, but he seems to be, you know, using those bubbles for a lot more protective value, letting Moose farm up Primal really easily, letting Owen go in for a maybe more aggressive punch, and that it's just the difference in playstyles.
I think it shows a lot of confidence there from Hida knowing who to bubble because, you know, you're looking at Mystic, Owen, and Moose, all characters that really benefit from having that, you know, period of invincibility where they can just go in and do a thing without worrying about it. And knowing who to put that on at what time is a real skill of being a Zarya player.
Yeah, and I want to point out the backlines between the 2 teams right now. Both are running Brig, but one has Moira and one has... Oh, never mind. They faked me out. All right, whatever.
It happens. It happens.
But both teams are looking to go a lot more aggressive now. They still have Moira Brig on one side, which is a much more survivable backline, but the Lucio Ana wants to run it down.
Yeah, and of course, huge pick potential here with the Doomfist ready to go. Already doing a little bit of work here. Can't find the kills just yet. Has allowed Hida to get a little bit of high energy, and Mystic finds the first pick. Levisov gonna go down. Mystic with the dash through, and a beautiful cleanup here by the Double Shield Daniels, who do not look to be sweating at all in these exchanges.
Yeah, that was actually kind of textbook for how to play the comp that Double Shield is running right now. They bubbled in aggressively, got some early charge, got some early spam, they backed out, waited for a second round of cooldowns, and they came back in just as hard as the first time, and then they committed doubly so.
Really hard anti-dive look coming out now from the W train with the McCree and the Sombra. Still stuffed up in choke, and now they've got to worry about Mystic with the blade ready to go. There's no real combo for it, and now they're going to have to back away from creep, but they've got the surge online, and they just completely take the W train apart.
I blinked and W train was derailed. It was scary, and Squid on the base is saying, I don't want to play Sombra anymore, and he goes Doomfist. He's going to match Owen.
Well, this is interesting. You've got to be really confident in your ability to play the Doomfist to want to take that 1v1. Maybe you don't even take the 1v1. You just look to try and find value elsewhere.
Yeah, and Vitamin D3 onto the BAP as opposed to the Brig at this point, which is scary against it.
High Noon peeking around the corner there from Hey George! Hey George able to find 2. Squid on the base finds Hida as well, and that was a nice clean cap looking to be coming out here from the W train.
Yeah, W train able to cap for, is it the first time this map?
First time, yeah.
First time this map, good for them. Let's see how they hold here. This map is really hard to retake. These chokes are really tight, and they have a grab to hold them. You know, maybe the beat isn't very good in these chokes, but I'm not sure how they're going to be able to hold this.
Oh, nice punch into the back line. Won't quite find the connect, but will then get the kill onto Vitamin D3. Sound Barrier is going to come out and keep most, but not all, of the team of Double Shield Daniels alive through this. We're seeing a punch back now from the W train. Moose is able to find Squid on the base. Hida about halfway through that charge meter, starting to do some damage. Helps find the pick there. Moose is alive on the point, has the shatter ready to go, doesn't need it, just hammers George regular way, takes him down, and it's going to be a recap here for Double Shield Daniels.
Yeah, that fight looked very rocky, especially after Mello committed beat and didn't really get a lot out of it, you know? Levi's Health gets Moose at the end of it. Ooh, that's gotta hurt even though you win that fight. Yeah, coming back into this, both teams are looking pretty even on ults. It's gonna be a lot of flashy colors.
But I'm looking at Hida only being 18% away from this Graviton Surge, and we saw how well Mystic was able to combo with those. I think twice so far this map, they've been like team wipe combos. So yeah, I'm looking at a one fight here. They don't need to do much. Oh, shatter right into the shield from Levisov. That's a difference maker, though. Hey, George on the high ground deals with that in a spectacular fashion, gets the 3K, and the W Train recap.
That was a great recap, but coming back into this, there's a lot of ults coming in for Double Shield Daniels. An aggressive Nanoblade this fight completely shuts down anything anything W Train want to do. This choke is hard to break, but a Nanoblade is an easy way to break it.
Yeah, it's kind of like using a grenade killer fly at this point. They just need to get that grenade into range. No immortality field to worry about. Vitamin D3 down. Mystic with the blade. They decided they didn't need the grab here. Just going in with the nano blade. Mystic gets 3, and we're going to see the point flip back over, and it's last fight territory.
Yeah.
Hey, George, find Mystic here, 99% and climbing, no contest, and that is going to be a quick 2-0 for the Double Shield Daniels.
Yeah, and as much as it's good to point at the Nano Blade, God, they can't be letting Owen get away with this stuff. He just pops into the back line. He's killed Vitamin D3, 2-3 times at this point. You gotta have your Kree watching that. You have to have your Zarya ready with Bubble. Otherwise, the Doom's just gonna keep doing that, and what happened here is gonna happen next map.
Yeah, you really need that babysitter, otherwise the dingo that is Owen on the Doomfist is going to metaphorically eat your baby, i.e. your supports. And just getting in the back and taking the Baptiste out is a huge amount of value for a Doomfist, because I feel it's been really difficult to run a Doomfist for quite a while now with the meta we've got.
Yeah, especially with things like Orisa Golding and a pull rock combo when a Doomfist goes in. You kind of have to play a lurker style and have your team scout for you, and then, out of the top ropes, come down with the slam or KO out of nowhere and try to get something. But yeah, Owen's playing very forward, very aggressively.
And it's working out for him. That was, I think we got 65-70% of the point captured over 2 sub-maps through Busan. So, a lot of value being found here using that playstyle. And the W Train, they've really got to think about how they're dealing with this, because another round like that will see them out of the tournament, and the Double Shield Daniels moving forwards. They've got to do more to protect their backline from him.
Yeah, and Owen is doing a phenomenal job, but he's not even the only threat. Sure, if you shut him down, that's great. You don't have to deal with the Doomfist. You still have to deal with, the Genji in your backline. You still have to be, afraid of like a big anti-nade coming out. This is just one of many hurdles they're going to have to jump over if they want to win this series.
It turns out that in a 6v6 game, it is important, in fact, to have a modicum of respect for all 6 members of the enemy team. They can, of course, all put you in the dirt. Moving over to our next map, though, Gunther, we're going to be starting on Oasis, and this time City Center to kick things off. Knowing now what we know about these two teams, what are we expecting, or what would you like to see from them as someone with a deep understanding of the game?
Well, what I would like to see from them is just playing what they're comfortable with, because it's been enjoyable to watch. I want to see Owen jumping off of the bounce pad as Doomfist and slamming from across the map, but he's picking Sombra, and my hopes are already dashed. So what do I know?
Wow. Yeah, they're still in Spawn. This could change. They could just be discussing.
That's true. But this map definitely favors a lot more dive-based comps, and it looks like that's what we're going to be seeing here. Really, how you rotate your backline here and keep them safe is the deciding factor. There are so many places you can get cleaved on your rotation and easily dove, that how you protect them and how you rotate your backline specifically is going to be very important. And there's a pause coming.
Yeah, I was just like, look, 0.1 second away from the doors opening. I was just getting ready to dive into that, and we get debated by the pause. Very unfortunate, but it does seem like this is going to be what people are coming out on. So with 0.1 seconds to go, I'm not expecting any last-minute changes. So we are going to be seeing that Sombra. Oh, and what's the job of the Sombra here? Like, who's your big target?
Oh, it's definitely the Wrecking Ball. And you don't engage with it. You're not looking to have your Sombra go first and hack the Wrecking Ball and then say, everybody dive ball. You're waiting, you're lurking, you're being patient for that ball to go aggressive, or maybe a Tracer to stop looking at you for a second. And then you can get that hack, and you can commit to that target. Too often we see a lot of Sombra players trying to engage a fight with hack when it just doesn't work. The second someone starts to get hacked, either the entire team peels or people look at the Sombra and force her out. Players have gotten very good at that. But when a fight's happening and there's chaos and, there's so many sounds, that little tick, tick, tick of a hack doesn't always register as something super important to listen to. So looking for those mid-fight against something like the Ball or the Tracer is definitely going to be fight winning as opposed to trying to engage with it early.
So it sounds like almost what you're describing there is less of a initiator forward scout style of play, but more almost like a bodyguard. Like you know that the Wrecking Ball gets the value by being mobile, running through, getting the knockbacks, displacing you, and so you just stop him doing that. It doesn't matter if you're doing that whilst he's away from the rest of the team. It's just to stop him finding value, and I guess maybe try and force him to swap off.
Yeah, exactly. And to that extent, he'll kind of have a similar job to a McCree in some ways.
Mm.
How you watch for a Doomfist or a Wrecking Ball to jump on your back line and you'll flashbang and protect them. But the difference between, a McCree and a Sombra is that the Sombra is able to be mobile in a way that provides a bit of global pressure. You can put a translocator in your team, stealth into the enemy team, poke them on their rotation, and then the second they look at you and your team starts moving, you can teleport back with your team. And you can have 100% uptime. You never have to leave that fight. Something like McCree is sometimes diveable and squishy, but also doesn't necessarily transfer into other comps the best if you're trying to swap from dive to something else.
Yeah, and I guess having the ability to translocate out at basically no cost is significantly better for survivability and mobility than just having a little bit of a cartwheel and getting reloaded. Like seems like it's a very poor escape tool for a McCree.
Yeah, and to that extent, a big part of how impactful Owen Sombra is going to be the communication with Koth Sprig. If Owen's able to say, "Hey, pack me," before he unstealths, and he just gets a repair pack for a couple seconds when he starts farming, he can maybe stay there a second or two longer, and that second or two is maybe 7% more ult charge, and that 7% adds up. And we're starting to unpause here.
Yeah, it looks like we're getting ready to go back in. I suppose the other big thing is that's a nice big combo is the EMP Nanoblade Dragon Boost. Dragon Boost? Nano Boost Dragon Blade. Like that's a big team fight win. If you lose on the back of that one, then frankly you deserve to be losing. In comes the dive from the low ground though. Mystic already taking a bit of flak here, but beautiful chase there. Does a huge amount of damage to Levisoff.
Oh, that's the bodyguard I talked about.
Yeah, exactly. Completely immobilized for now. And Crete caught out in no man's land. Moose able to take the second half of that winged duo out of the sky. And the Double Shield Daniels looking strong here for an early cap. Actually, he's going to go to the W train here, but Double Shield have the numbers and they're likely to retake this fairly quickly.
Yeah, as much as Dive Comp is very good at taking these scrappy engagements, it feels like Double Shield Daniels are going to be able to close this one out and just say, "You're wasting your time on that."
They're doing a good job of at least securing a little bit of capture progress here, and towards the end of the map, 50% can make the difference. But they're committing ultimates. Hey, George threw in the Pulse Bomb in a lost fight. They've already given over control here. They're not getting percentage on the board. They're now just feeding over ult charge.
Yeah, and oh, well, there's a couple picks coming back with a pocketed Tracer and Vitamin D3 getting a couple more.
The DPS Moira, you hate to see it except for when it's working out for your team. And the W Trade are slowly bringing this back. Mystic falling very low, gets taken out by Hey George. Owen with a tag back onto the point to keep that contest going that little bit longer. But Owen's going to get run down here, and we're looking like we're going to see the flip sometime in the next couple of seconds.
That was heart-wrenching back and forth. That was just kind of amazing. You see Owen swap off of the Sombra to the McCree saying, "All right, I've tried being a passive bodyguard. I'm gonna take matters into my own hands." They have a Nanoblade coming up this fight, which is always a good retake ult. Because the fact that W Train is on dive, they're very mobile. They could be able to kite it before Double Shield Daniels do anything.
Yeah, a lot of forward scouting required to make sure that's going to go in just the right place. You don't want them to find easy ways out. Owen gets the opener, though. Hey George is taken down, and it's going to be Mystic. Just trying to get the pick there. Will find Squid on the base. Needs to find Crete on the Mercy as well to stop that coming back in and bringing the barrage online. But it looks like the W Train decide they're not really in this fight properly. Squid on the base is going to be coming back in under their own steam on this one. Force Bomb's going to come out as well. Heater on the high ground. They've not managed the captives yet. Moose looking for a displacement there into the traffic. Won't find it. Instead goes into the back to find Crete. self-destruct out there as well from Double Shield, so they're throwing a lot at this fight, and they've still not managed the recap. Hida gets the rundown of the Squid on the base in the sky, and they are still trying to keep this going, but W Train are still in control.
Yeah, Double Shield Daniels need to take a good reset now if they want to have another fight. The most upsetting part of that is Double Shield Daniels, they messed up the Nano Blade combo. Something went wrong somewhere, and Mystic couldn't get the kills that he wanted to. That's an early rally coming out from Kath for pre-armor.
Well, they know they've got to get in and touch, and now they've got to try and get in around the minefield. Rather than try and go for the wraparound, they're just going to send in Kath to try and clear those mines. They're now gone, but they've got to watch out for the recontest as Kath gets pile drive down by Wi-Fi, and it's now a 5v6, a 4v6 as Moose falls here. And it feels like the Double Shield Daniels kind of just let the W Train take this one.
Yeah, Double Shield Daniels seemed so strong on the last map. And even at the beginning of this, they seemed... That early fight, where it was back and forth so often, it seemed amazing for them. But something, burned out somewhere. Some fuse didn't fire, and here we are.
Yeah, well, still potentially one more round on this to go. 2, if the Double Shield Daniels can find their 4 as we move over onto University. And it seems like we're potentially seeing another look here, and maybe another character that you look at as a counter to a Wrecking Ball potentially coming out from Owen.
Yeah, and also to this extent, Hida's back on the Zarya, which seemed to be a very, very strong pick for them. Able to defensively bubble and just maybe not pump out the most damage, but definitely keep his team alive in clutch situations here.
Yeah, we're certainly finding a lot of value on this first map. You're going to see the W Train coming back out with that Fire and Mercy combo. Hey, George on the ground on the Tracer just to add a little more spice to the mix. Early initiation by Wi-Fi finds a quarter of that ult charge already. Squid on the base, looking a little bit uncontested, just playing around the masonry, but Mystic finds a line through onto them. Mercy should be there from Greek to bring them back into that. Threat's going to be back on the table fairly soon. Flashbang connects, but Wi-Fi is able to get down and away from the follow-up damage. The W Train once more with the Scar and Mercy combo looking really good right now.
Yeah, so it seemed that the part of the backline on Double Shield Daniels got picked early, and when one of your supports get picked, you want to either fully back up and disengage, or you want to go fast and take that fight with the health you have. The longer that fight goes on, the worse it is for you, and that was shown by how Double Shield Daniels just kind of slowly fell apart without those extra heals.
Wi-Fi on the far side here looking for roll through, slightly interrupted by the masonry, but we'll get the power driver, and now about to get that minefield online. Won't need it as Kath is down, all ready to squid on the base. As Owen goes down here, this has got to be a retreat from the Double Shield Daniels. They're not winning this one.
Yeah, with the monumental amount of damage coming from W Train and these 2 small chokes you have to push through, Double Shield Daniels are going to have a really hard time coming through, especially on this tank comp. Ryan Zari is pretty strong and perfectly fine, but against this kind of comp and this kind of situation, you need to take some decisive engagements, and we see a swap over to the Sigma to deal with this.
And I'm looking at this 50% captured already, ults in spades for the W Train. This is going to be so difficult for the Double Shield Daniels to win out on this one. There's the barrage from a ways back, finds a lot of shields. Mystic pops the High Noon around the back and gets the double, takes the aerial duo off of the table entirely. Looking to get the follow-up there and get the pick onto Hey George, but George able to find Mystic instead. It was looking so good. It was such a good opener for the Double Shield Daniels with the Double Train. They keep themselves in this. They're committing the ults and they're winning out. They're at 80% now, and the Double Shield Daniels only have the Shatter to play with.
That fight started off so well. Mystic got the 2K Deadeye, and just slowly but surely, W Train started to claw their way back into that fight. And now Double Shield Daniels just have a Shatter to work with, which doesn't feel like it's going to achieve a whole lot here.
No, very difficult to shatter a Fire and Mercy. Everyone else is so mobile here that they're not going to stand around and let you shatter them. It's at 99-0 now for the W Train. Shatter comes out. It will find Hey Yorch. And this is starting to look that little bit better now for the Double Shield Daniels. They find the picks they need. It's at 99-0, but it looks like they're finally getting ready to make the flip.
Yeah, Squid on the Pharmacy duo just heading around coast, probably trying to leave, not get picked off by Mystic. But the solo shatter onto Hey George, maybe they don't win this map, but that's sticking with him. He's gonna remember that one.
Yeah, sometimes it's about sending a message.
Exactly.
In the next fight, though, they will have Mystic with another high noon here, but they've got to deal with a little bit more coming their way, and that's a nice early pick by Owen, taking Wi-Fi out of it, but immediately equalized and a large amount of your pick potential taken off the board now. Rock Mojito won't connect, but we'll get the follow-up damage with a little bit of help there from Cat. Squid of the Base able to get the barrage in over the top, finds Cat. Vitamin D3 with the Coalescence gets Mellow, and it's looking really good here for a recap from the W Train, and they're taking us to 1-1 in the series as they look to round out Busan. A valiant effort from Owen, only finds Crete. They get the flip. There's nobody looking to really make a serious contest here. As soon as they touch in, they're knocked out against. That is Gunther 1-1 in the series. One final map to decide this one.
Yeah, we're all tied up here, and I want to just say how on last map we talked about how W-Train, you need to deal with Owen. Owen's, destroying your backline, and Squid just says, well, you can't kill me if you can't catch me. And now it feels like the exact opposite, Double Shield need to be able to deal with Squid on the base on the Pharah, because otherwise they're just going to get torn apart like Owen was doing to them the map before.
I feel like we have seen a little bit of a pushback here from Mystic. He was able to get a couple of good Deadeye kills on the Pharah Mercy duo, but you need to be doing that in the neutral. You can't just rely on having your ult. Yes, Deadeye is a very quick charging ult in the grand scheme of things, but you can't have that be your only counter to the Pharah Mercy combo, because whilst they're waiting for that to come online, they are just going to spam the rest of your team down around you. I feel like we need to see maybe the D.Va come back into the mix to just add that extra chase down, perhaps.
I think something like a D.Va Rhine would be really good for Double Shield Daniels, because you want to be able to commit aggressively on any target that is low ground while having enough resources like a Kree and a D.Va to box out that Pharmercy combo. If you're able to push the front line really aggressively and look for those more immobile targets, maybe force out the Moira Fade and just fully commit onto her or something like that, we could see the Double Shield Daniels, winning a lot of these scrappier engagements, but they just need something more than high noon to deal with the Pharmercy.
The other school of thought on dealing with the Pharmercy is that you don't. You win the ground war, you win the 4v6, and then the Pharah Mercy is its own thing up in the sky. It's two players, it's whatever. From what we've seen from the Double Shield Daniels, is that a thing that's likely to work out for them, or has the sheer pressure from the Pharmacy duo from the W Train precluded the use of that sort of strategy?
I think the biggest thing is that running a D.Va Kree gives you the ability to do both. It gives you the ability to win the ground war, and it gives you the ability to box up the Pharmercy if you have to. It gives you a lot of options to deal with these, this kind of overwhelming Pharmercy combo. And here specifically on Ilios Ruins, our first map, we might see a Widow come out if somebody's feeling confident and a little spicy. But overall, they need to either commit to dealing with the Pharmercy or winning the ground war. They're trying to do a little bit of both at once.
Interesting to see if we've got a competent Widowmaker in our teams. Certainly, we've not seen anything particularly long range from anybody. It looks like, certainly whilst we're still in Spawn, we're seeing Dive without any real long range DPS focus.
Yeah, the most we saw was an Ashe on Busan, but now it seems to have mellowed out, and it looks like Owen's going to try to match. He says, okay, Squid, I see your Pharah, but have you seen mine?
Okay, so the third option we haven't discussed is, of course, just trying to run the mirror. Not quite a mirror here, but looking at that as an option here from Owen. Let's see if he can make this work as well as Squid on the base has been able to. Out of the gates and ready to go now on Ilios Ruins.
What worries me here is the fact that W Train can dive Mellow very easily. If they don't position incredibly well, Mellow's going to be an easy target, and the rest of the comp is going to be cut off from heals.
Speaking of easy target, a lot of flack there in the back as Hey George tries to get the rundown on Mellow, won't quite manage it. In the meantime, we'll see the pick start to come through. Levisov now down. Squid on the base still healthy and reigning in the Rockets, but it does mean their point presence is significantly reduced. So expect Double Shield Daniels to maybe start to punch things back here, but Mellow's going to get left alone in the back. We'll see the rest come through. Owen's starting to do a bit of the lifting here on the Pharah. Has certainly a lot more ult charge available than Squid on the base, so this might be the look that wins them out this map.
Yeah, Owen hit a really nice double direct onto Creed. It was Ah, chef's kiss. That was perfect. Made me happy. But coming up here, it's still really hard because Mello needs to position very, very well. And we see Hey George going over to the Ashe, which might get a little more pressure with the Mercy Pocket. But overall, they're still the more aggressive comp just based off of their tank line.
Of course, we've not really seen much by way of hit scan coming out from Mystic, so if they want that additional hit scan threat to try and deal with Hey George, that might be a little bit of a shortcoming in their lineup. What a direct! Keat now down. It's a 5v6. 4v6 always going to go down here. The res is available. Cath has that ready to go. We're going to see the Nano Boost committed here as well onto the D.Va. Suddenly, a lot more threatening as the 2-ton mech with the Nano Boost runs down player to player. Vitamin D3 now down as well. Heater comes out of this with the self-destruct ready to go, and we are now at 50% capped here on Ilios Ruins for the Double Shield Daniels.
Ooh, and that's ouch indeed. That's the second time we've seen the Nano come out on someone, that isn't Genji with Blade here. And if Mystic wants to get value, he needs to say, Koth, pocket me this fight, and run in with his Blade in a Mercy Pocket.
You see Wi-Fi initiate here with the minefield over the points. Doesn't look to have found a huge amount of value there. It kind of spreads nice and wide, but it gives people a route through. Oh, Owen, unfortunately, caught a little bit of their own flack from the rocket there. Cath brings them back into the fight, but not a huge amount of value out of the barrage, and they get focused down again, and there's no longer a res available. They've got the 7th man on the field. Bob there, ready to start to do something, anything, and they're going to run down Mystic here. Teammate comes through onto Heater.
Yeah, it really just feels like this entire fight, W-Train just made a web on point and slowly surrounded Double Shield Daniels. They forced Moose to stay in the middle with his Primal. They forced Hita to stay in the middle, and they were just able to slowly grind down these targets over time. And we see Wi-Fi swapping to a Roadhog instead of the ball he was on. Seems to be an aversion to D.Va.
It takes a specific type of person to play a D.Va. A very technically demanding hero, lots of stuff you've got to do. Not everyone's got the time of day to put into learning D.Va. Looking at this, though, I'm looking at the Nano Boost Dragon Blade combo. We'll have that now on board. Goes for the dash, closes the distance with Levisoft. Slash after slash takes him down. They're going to lose Moose in the interval. Nice dive up into the sky there to try and pressure out Creek, and Heater gets the run down onto them as well. Looking like our recap here from Double Shield. They've taken the last member off the board, and it's at 98%. Unlikely to see a recontest.
Yeah, we see Hey George swapping to the Widow, maybe trying to make some miracles happen, but it doesn't look very likely right now. But Heater gets the pick on to Squid on the base.
Yeah, Squid on the base is down. Here's the self-destruct coming out from Heater. Luckily, there's just enough shield presence there from Levisoft to keep them in that, but now it's down, and the barrage comes through. There's a wrecking ball from Wi-Fi back off the hog onto the ball, but too little, too late, and we are one map down on Ilios. Only one map separating the Double Shield Daniels, and they're winning the series, and they're moving on in the bracket.
We kind of said to Double Shield, hey, you have 2 options to deal with this Pharmacy. And they said, did you consider 3? And now Owen just seems to be getting a lot more value, even making Hey Jordan play other stuff.
That's a lot to say about the pressure that you can put on as a DPS player when you are making your opponent have to do something to deal with you. Shows that you are exactly doing your job right.
Yeah, and it looks like we're seeing a bit of a double hit scan bunker here come up against the dive comp of Double Shield Daniels. So if W-Train are able to position properly, maybe in the cage on the right side, or just play in such a way which enables them to get strong pull hook combos, this might be an easy map for them. But if Double Shield Daniels are able to web the point like they did on Ruins, take off angles, and just really isolate targets, then we could see it going to them. This is so close right now, just in the theory graph.
Nice rotation there from W-Train, avoiding a lot of the incoming damage from Double Shield. But they're going to go down early. Squid on the base, down, res back in by Crate Heater. No such look for them on this one, can't get the res off. In fact, Heater's going to be swapping over onto the Hog here when they come back. Owen already at 40%, but just too little too late with his damage coming through. A couple of times now we've seen him get the rockets hit, but by the time he's found anything, someone's already dead on his team.
Yeah, and then we see Hita swap back to the Roadhog, which feels difficult if you're trying to dive into a bunker without that D.Va matrix to keep your team alive. And
yeah,
we see still
weird.
Yeah, we see still that W Train is running a bit of a double hit scan Orisa Hog, which feels slightly unconventional, but given the circumstances, it's working.
And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So 26% of the point already capped here with this slightly unusual composition. Let's drop those caster air quotes in over the top. No ults really on the board for anybody to speak of just yet. So this next fight is going to be a long, slow, drag-out, knockdown fight, but kind of get baited into that one as Owen is taken down by Squid on the base. We'll see the res come through, but he's going to have to take a different angle. Heater down now as well. Then Cath 2. This has been a disastrous set of pushes in for the Double Shield Daniels.
Yeah, and it feels like Double Shield Daniels a bit of a late coalescence there. It happens to the best of us. But it feels like even though Double Shield Daniels are now swapping to their namesake, it's just so hard to retake here now that W Train feel more entrenched in this position than a World War I battlefield.
This is such a difficult bunker to assail, using not just the Shield of the Orisa, but the geometry as well to stop the lines of damage coming through. And Owen picked out yet again, has the barrage, but now has to try and find something to make work through the High Noon. They lose Moose, there's no res, it's at 83%. It's looking like this might be a 100-0 shutout from the W Train. Mellow needs to get this Nano Boost online and needs it now if Mystic wants anything to happen with this blade.
Wi-Fi's been keeping an eye on the farmer scene, maybe trying to cancel the barrage here, which comes out, and he's not close enough to cancel.
Oh, and that's so rough. Taken out in the middle of the barrage with no picks. And the Bob comes out and Mystic is off before the blade can come out. This has been a dire round for the Double Shield.
Mystic just got sent to the moon. He's gone. Man. He's in the next. He's on Horizon Lunar Colony. Get us off of Helios.
Yeah, say hi to the chimps for us because they're going to be your only company on that cold rock. But this is now 1-1. We're down to the final round. We're moving to Lighthouse. The winner of this one sub-map is going to be the winner of the series, is going to be who moves forward in the playoff bracket. And honestly, the W Train, they looked so strong in that round. Like, they've got Double Shield Daniels completely red here.
This feels like it's going to come down to this first neutral fight. If W Train can get entrenched on this map and, you know, hold properly, maybe in cage, not on point, like they did on Well, then this might be pretty easy for them. But if Double Shield Daniels are able to go aggressively before they're able to set up the off angles with the Ash Mercy and the Roadhog, then Double Shield Daniels can isolate those targets even if they're on a brawl comp.
Double Shield Daniels, they want to be first to the point here. They've got the TP up, so they're going to have that early presence on the point. Moose there doesn't take the TP and nearly gets punished for that. Gets the hold, didn't find the hook to connect, so survives through that. And now they've got this position on the point. W Train need to spam somebody down here. They need that opening pick so they can surge in at the 5v6. And Mellow is down. Either with the equalizer, but it's looking dicey now as the hook comes through. There won't be the follow-up kill, but they've got this point surrounded. They've now got a lot of control here.
When you're running a Rein Zarya against a Double Shield or an Orisa Hog kind of comp, you need to be going aggro. You need to be setting the pace for that fight. And it really just feels like Double Shield Daniels were waiting for W Train to engage, but they're still going to end up winning this fight.
They've still got the cap, and with that displacement kill onto Squid on the base from Mellow, this is a huge opportunity for them to stabilize. And they come out of that with some incredibly important ults to play with.
Yeah, Mellow just decided to kill through and win the fight. We see Squid on the base swapping to the Pharah, which is really strong against what Double Shield Daniels are running. It's going to be a test if Double Shield Daniels can kill the front line fast enough before Squid on the base is able to get a lot of damage out with the Pharah.
But I'm looking at this and thinking, we've got a Nano, we've got a Dragon Blade, we've nearly got the Wall, we've got the Graviton Surge online. Double Shield Daniels, they've got a lot of fight-winning ultimates here. You're going to see the Bob come out first. He gets booted out of the way, so he's now in that far corner. And getting walked in the neutral, gets burned down by Owen. There's the grab. It's big. It catches 3, but the Orisa shield comes out. But you can slice through that shield if you've got a Dragon Blade. He gets the triple, and we're at 64% and rising now for the Double Shield Daniels.
Double Shield Daniels won that fight, but because of the fact they were playing so passively on point and let W Train engage first, they had to use 5 ults for that fight. And sure, W Train doesn't have a lot coming into this right now, but they almost have Valk, they almost have Barrage, they almost have Orisa Supercharger. This is going to be hard.
but they've got to make it happen soon because we're at 85% now. They need a pick here. At the very least, they need a pick here. They need time to get these ultimates online. Supercharger and Barrage come online together in unison, but we lose Vitamin D3 pretty early on, and Barrage is only going to find one. It takes Heater out of the fight, but Hey George gets in on the Reaper in the back and finds one. Hey George is going to go down to Cat with that damage orb coming through, but in the final seconds of the fight, the W train, they do enough to flip this. We're not out of this just yet, Gunther.
Yeah, they finally edged that one out with superior ult advantage. And if you see, they're swapping over to a Rhine now. They're trying to mirror the Brawl, even if they say, okay, the Lucio might outmaneuver us, but can you deal with the metric butt-ton of damage we are throwing down range?
And they're coming up on again another couple of ults here. If they can get a Shatter that gets maybe 2 and get a pick here, this is great for them, but they lose Cat right away. And with that much healing off the table, it ain't a fight that you're looking to win, and it ain't a fight you're looking to take, no matter how much splash damage you can do with the Symmetra.
Especially if your other healer is a Lucio. You can't commit with that. Maybe they could have beat it and gone aggressively, but it feels like it would have just been a waste of resources. Better to just reset, play slow, avoid Pharah spam, and wait for your Moira to get back.
And they're closing in on having a Dragon Blade as well, but they're going to go in here with just the wall for cover, but they stray too far to one side of it, and Squirtle Bases are able to find 2, and the cleanups there for the rest are of the point now capped for W trade, and I feel, Gunther, this might go down to 99.99.
Maybe, but right now, this is Double Shield Daniels' fight to win. They have a lot. They have Beat and they have Blade. They want to go aggressive with that. If Double Shield Daniels want to win the game, it's right now. It's this second.
They've got to avoid having somebody picked off. They've done that a couple of times. We're going to see the aggressive Beat come out here, allows them to close the distance. The grab comes out. The Blade comes out over the top. We got the slice in, but it doesn't find anybody. It does the body damage, though. It allows the rest of the team to get in and capitalize on that damage and find the picks. The rest comes through, but it's Wi-Fi and Crete against the encroaching mass now of the Double Shield Daniels. The point flips at 99-91. The kills are there. The W train, they're nowhere to be seen. There's no contest, and that is it. The Double Shield Daniels at the last second, they win the fight, and they win the series, and they're moving through in the bracket.
They take that at the very end. I could feel Mystic's pain as he was slashing on 3 people with Blade. None of them were dying, and as they finally fall, it's like opening a jar where somebody else gets it, and you just need to say, well, I loosened it for you.
You did the most of the work, I just needed that cloth on the hand just to get that little last tick of the jar open. But yeah, real clutch play there from Mystic. He might not have got the credit for it, but he did most of the lifting on that one.
Yeah, lifting is a strong way, or is a good way to put it. Mystic's got some bulging biceps after some of those fights. Mystic's and Owen really being some superstar DPS here.
Yeah, completely, which is not to downplay the performance that we saw from the DPS of the W train, because, this map, this entire series really could not have been much closer. Yes, a couple of points where it was a little bit one-sided, but overall, we're in the third map set. It went to 3 maps. We got to 92 to 100. Like, there's only a little bit closer that could have been. So this has been a very even fight, and really just down to small differences, small mistakes made by one team that weren't made by the other, that really rounded out who was taking that series home.
Yeah, that series felt like an arm race. Double Shield Daniels would figure out something that W Train had to respond to, and they would use it to the best of their ability. Then W Train would fire back with something Double Shield Daniels had to respond to, and the conflict continued to escalate and escalate until they hit the mutually assured destruction of both teams just running Pharah.
Here's the nice thing about that arms race in Overwatch is that the mutually assured destruction, typically not that mutual, very hard to draw a King of the Hill map. In fact, impossible, some would say. So, the run through the bracket here for the Double Shield Daniels is going to go at least one round further, as we are going to be moving into our final round here. Whilst we get our final team into the bracket ready to go, we are going to throw to a very quick break, but it should be a very quick break, so please don't go too far.